morning once again. So I'm delighted to introduce the next two panelists and speakers to you. We call them the OGs of Indian real estate, or the original gangsters of Indian real estate. I'm not going to do the regular bio, this is a different type of introduction. Both speakers are the respective chairmen of their companies, and both were founded in 1986 in our very own city of Bangalore. Both companies develop very high quality real estate assets across all segments, be it resi, office, retail, and hotels. Both have schools as part of their foundations. Both companies have redefined the city's skylines and created micro markets where none existed. Both companies have won more awards for their projects than one can care to count. Both companies value innovation, trustworthiness, and customer centricity as part of their business. Both treat employees and business associates as extension of their family, and culture plays a very key role to their success. Both companies are touted as being amongst India's top 5 builders in the country. Both speakers are renowned for their business acumen and leadership abilities. And both speakers have a very loyal fan following in the real estate space. They are both very unique in their style and approach to business. And both are competitors, but more importantly, friends. One of the panelists I've known all my life, and the other I've known almost all my life. Both call me Beti, but in different forms. And I'm so delighted to invite the chairman of Prestige Group, Mr. Irfan Razack, and chairman of Brigade Group, Mr. Jaishankar, to the dais. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. So thank you so much. Thank you both for being here. This is our star attraction for the day. I'll refer to you as Mr. Razack, if you don't mind. So first things first, both companies have had a great run in the stock prices in the past few months, hitting their highest ever market cap. So to Mr. Razack, how long do you think the stock markets will continue this bull run?
It's anybody's guess. I really don't know how the stock markets operate. What we believe in is keep doing what you're doing, do it well, and I think there will be recognition by the shareholders, by the market, and so this not playing to the galleries, but doing your job. That's all I believe in, and the rest is left to whoever wants to consider you and take your stock up or take it down. No problem.
Great. So the format of this session, I'll be asking both different questions, but both of you are welcome to jump into any of the answers if you'd like. So any further comment on the stock price question?
No, I think I'm also a small-time operator of stock market for maybe 40 years. So used to ups and downs. And I think everybody will become very bullish when the market is going up, and we'll start crying when the market goes down. So the only lesson my father had taught me then is you operate in the stock market as long as you're willing to bear the losses, to the extent of your capability to willing to absorb the losses.
So, Mr. Jaishankar, post the triple whammy impact on real estate with demonetization, RERA, GST in 2016-17, we saw a lot of smaller builders, almost as high as 50 to 60% of them deciding to shut shop. The larger, more established players were able to take advantage of this and enhance their market share. But post-COVID, there's again been a bull run in the residential real estate market. 2-3 smaller questions. Are the number of new entrants increasing? Will the number of builders get back to pre-COVID levels? And how long do you think this golden period will last?
So as Irfan said, it is anybody's guess as far as the golden period loss, but real estate is also like quite a bit like stock market, in the sense when the market going is good, whole lot of new entrants we see, because there is hardly any entry barrier in real estate. You know, you need to be smart, have some finance, and you know, you can enter. And pre-RERA, you need not have money also. Somehow people used to sell and enter. And when the markets are down, we have seen the membership of CREDAI going down by 50%, 60%, that kind of a thing. People are not even ready to pay the subscription fee. You know, it comes to that. Similarly, you know, like stock market in real estate, there are always ups and downs. We are into business cycles. So it is very unpredictable how long the joyride will last. But currently, when you speak to you know, bankers, when you speak to officials, just 4 days back, you know, I attended an evening with Mr. Sanjeev Sanyal, so who is Prime Minister's economic advisor. So he said, which most bankers agree, is that currently everything is going right for the country. You know, we are in that sweet spot, and you know, the joyride. But when you think everything is going okay, some totally unexpected thing may come, like COVID in 2020, Ukraine war in 2021, now in 2023, you know, the Palestine war. These are totally unpredictable things which will have a major macro impact to the country. So similarly, when you're in real estate, there can be macro issues which will affect us. For example, change of state governments, change of central government. You know, the parties can have a very devastating effect. So we have to keep our fingers crossed, and I always believe, try to do, you expand, you do whatever you want to, try to do as long as you're able to handle the negative side of the business if the going is tough. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So, Mr. Razack, you've been making good use of the time and the good times in the market. You've been signing up deals in Mumbai, Delhi, Goa, apart from Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. I don't think anybody is going all guns blazing as fast as you are. My question to you is, in which city does the math work out best in terms of ROI? And if you could rank in order of your preference, your most favorite city to do business in, all things considered.
Yeah, just to add on what Jai said, see, I have a different take. I don't believe real estate is cyclical. Today, we've actually come of age. I believe housing is a need in our country. There's huge urbanization happening. There's a vast amount of employment that is happening. I think we are on a different level. And the first thing that when people get jobs, once they stabilize into a job, is they'll buy their you know, necessities, like probably a vehicle for themselves, whether it's a four-wheeler or whatever. But the next big investment that anybody does in their life is a home. And housing is a need. And I believe that we are only at the tip of the iceberg, as long as we're able to produce houses which are affordable. Unfortunately, we lose track. I always keep thinking, I say that's the only reason when you have to think deep. And if you have the answer and get the answer right, and if you go in that direction, I don't think you can go wrong. And the reason is, if you completely price your product right, if you're targeting the right audience, enough and more demand that will come. I said that, now we've got media sitting here. You know, I said, it was in the, we used to do business even when the media said real estate wasn't doing well. And now when media is saying that real estate doing well, we are doing better. That's the only difference. So the thing is, I think the sky is the limit. And now to answer your question, which city? My favorite city is Bangalore. I've been born here. Wherever I go in this country, I believe, in all respects, Bangalore is the best city to do business in. Bangalore has got you know, huge opportunities, and I think some of the best developments in all asset classes, whether it's residential or office or real estate. You know, what we do is we create space, because I don't believe we are in the business of building concrete. We are in the business of building spaces. Spaces for people to play in, live in, work in, and enjoy those spaces. If we think in that way, I think thing will be there. Okay, now if I get into a Mumbai, it's all a very different thing. It's all about FSI. It's all about they don't want to leave a square foot that they can. So it's a very different mindset which we are not used to, which we've not grown up with. So of course, Chennai, Hyderabad are more or less like Bangalore, but even Hyderabad is also gone on a different route because it's free of FSI. And they pack in almost 6 times, 7 times the FSI on an acre of plot. On an acre, they build some 300 to 320,000 square feet, which I told KTR, of course, no, he's not there anymore, his government just lost. I said, sir, this is unsustainable. Please bring in some limit, because at one time when you overbuild like that, people will not be able to get out of their either offices or homes and get into them. But then some of the other developers, where this conversation happened some 5 years ago. And then as soon as I got out of that room, the other fellows were ready to murder me. So see, we have to know how to control ourselves. We need to know what is good for that particular area, for that particular location, and see how to, you have to monetize. Now you talked about ROI. ROI is there. You see, ultimately, when we are doing business, yes, we have to look at the bottom line. We have to see that we take care of our shareholders. But I think business should not be only about ROI. It should be a balance of seeing how this development will affect lives, and at the same time, how it will give a surplus to the company for doing the work that we are doing. And if you're able to balance that, offer a good product at a good price in that good location and for that particular location, I think it's a recipe for success.
Nice, thank you, Uncle. So back to you, Mr. Jaishankar. Brigade has been building in all asset classes. We have done so in resi, malls, office, hotels, hospitals, schools. Which is your most favorite asset class that you enjoy developing, and why?
No, since we're into all asset classes, I have to say like all. But within that, if you have to rank in terms of sometimes satisfaction it gives in design and to see the end product, it may be the hotels. In terms of, giving shelter. See, ultimately, as Irfan said, we are in the business of shelter. Which is a basic need for a human being, like food, clothing, and shelter, which is the 3 basic needs for human being. And luckily we are in that business, and he may be in 2 businesses out of that. Yeah. So we get the satisfaction of giving shelter and giving a roof overhead homes to the people, and the hotel and schools where it's part of our Brigade Foundation, which is not the hotel, sorry, hospital and schools are part of our Brigade Foundation, which is a not-for-profit trust that helps us to look into the social side of our business, to do business responsibly. And office also is creating spaces, some kind of a shelter, working life shelter. Office and retail also is an important class because it gives you annuity income. It takes care of ups and downs in businesses. And just to add to what Irfan said earlier, definitely there is unlimited opportunity in real estate in India. In fact, few years back, when I met some of the Chinese developers, of course, who have all gone down now in Singapore, each of their one company's sales was equivalent to the entire Bangalore developer community's sales. Entire country like that, They were, if we sell 65 million square feet, we used to sell of real estate in Bangalore. They were selling 65 million, one developer. And the 65 million in Bangalore was maybe contributed by very small to big developers of 500 numbers or so. And one developer used to sell 65 million in half a year. No, that's the kind of volume China has seen, primarily because when our GDP goes, our per capita income goes up. Today we are at maybe $3,000. When our per capita, when it goes up to $5,000 and $7,000, the disposable income of each person will double and triple. That is where and when the investment comes to non essential, I would say, in sectors like housing and all consumer durables and other aspects. That is why the scope is unlimited. But having said that, every business has cycle, like the China developers now. They're overindulged in certain things and they're paying the price that way.
Great, thank you. So we all know that hindsight is 2020, and just before COVID, Prestige sold a major stake in its retail portfolio to Blackstone. Then with COVID, the retail industry was one of the hardest hit industries, and many tenants could not pay rent. So it seemed like a fabulous timing and decision by your side. But for about 18 months, for 18 months after COVID, the retail industry suffered greatly, but now it's back with a boom. So looking back from today, would you have played it any differently, and do you wish you still had that portfolio?
No, I don't think I would have played it any differently. And this, you talked about the Blackstone transaction. It wasn't a premeditated transaction.
So you didn't have, you actually didn't have the crystal gazing ball.
And believe you me, there was no pressure. COVID was just hitting us. I remember it was March of 2020. February and 2020, my team came and told me the retailers are getting worried, and there's something happening in China. Nothing had hit India, nothing had hit the world. Yeah. It was only some Chinese disease somewhere. Now, and they may have to shut down, or there'll be something out of just a stroke of brilliance, of innocence, of stupidity, whatever. I told my team, okay, if they have to shut down, I thought they'll be shut down for a week, maximum 2 weeks. Let them not pay rent during the period of shutdown. That was communicated. And all the retailers were very happy, because I said, if they can't trade, how do they pay rent? Now in that you have corporate retailers, you have got small retailers, you've got medium, all types of retailers. Now if they don't, if we've made money from them, and in case they can't trade, I said, okay, let them not. Though we had EMIs to pay, then one led to the other. But at the similar time, we were toying with, Blackstone was talking to us, and they were interested in doing this, what they've done now, the retail REIT. Initially the program was just to join together and become partners. So this, I was sitting there, I had asked my team, I don't know, maybe it's destiny or intuition or whatever you call it, and make a list of all these assets, tell me against each asset what is the debt, against each asset what is the income, what is the EMI we have to. See, businesses, you have to think, and when you think, the answers come. So I had the data with me ready, and this banker calls me and said, Irfan Saab, you had discussed something with Blackstone earlier. Now they are interested in buying your portfolio. In a flash of this thing, I told him, I said, okay, no cherry picking. If they are interested in buying my assets, across the board, these are the assets, I'll send the list. They can't say, I want this, I don't want that. If they want the whole lot, let them take it. So we put the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, and then presented the portfolio. And everybody thought it was a brilliant move. No brilliance in that. It was just, some way it was destiny or fate or maybe stupidity, but I would never play it again. See, what happened is, we gave up a whole lot of assets, but we are now building a new generation assets, completely new generation. So what we did was, it's just like in a store, the old stock goes out and you again get the fresh brand new stock, and then you have something else to play with. So now we've got the Forum South Bangalore, now we've got Forum Kochi. We're building 8 more malls, and his favorite asset is, he says, is hotels. Hotels is the riskiest business according to me. But having said that, I think we are now doing the biggest number of rooms in this country in terms of hospitality. I can't imagine why we're doing it. But having said that, retail is my favorite. Of course, apart from housing, which is, according to me, a zero-sum game in terms of capital, because it's capital in, capital out, positive cash flows, and there's no reason, if you do it right, for you to have debt in that business, unless initially you get debt to buy some land. So, and the other assets, like I would say all the other offices or retail or hospitality is where the money goes, and you need a lot of money for that.
Need deep pockets for certain asset classes.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
So Resi has to fuel the deep pockets for all the other asset classes. So Mr. Jaishankar, you said during COVID, another COVID related question, we all sat on a number of panels that said the office market is dead, work from home is here to stay. And even today, there is return to office now, but there is still gloom and doom in the market globally, be it in US or Europe and Australia, and large companies like Brookfield, Blackstone, they are handing over their keys to the buildings back to the bankers. You had mentioned there are uncertainties in wars and pandemics, and there's still recessionary trends world over. So, however, Brigade is keen to expand its office portfolio. So why are you still so bullish on the Indian office market?
No, I'm bullish, optimistic, but not exuberant. You know, I would put it this way, this work from home culture has affected different cities, different countries in different ways. For example, in US, yes, it is affected badly. I understand in Australia, it is terrible. Firstly, Australia is a country where, you know, even malls shut shop at 5 o'clock, and a city market like a place shut shop at 3 p.m. You know, can you imagine city KR market at Shivajinagar to shut shop at 3 p.m. But if you go to Australia, you can see that. And the post-COVID, or you know, even pre-COVID also, outlook towards life is different in different countries. Post-COVID, the philosophy of life has changed a lot for many, many people. You know, why should we work is the question many people ask. Even in our own office, some people are retiring, you know, and without anything in mind, they're retiring quite early. And that is one extreme, and the other extreme is Mr. NRN talking about 70 hours. You know, so there are two extremes in situation. Both are, I mean, people have to decide for themselves. Work from home, return to office is happening, and it may be 40-50% in Karnataka, Bangalore, and southern cities. But if you go to north, I was quite shocked. I think it is 70-75% return to home. Reason? Pollution in Delhi. So the air quality in offices, air-conditioned offices, is far superior to what each one may have in their own houses, and certainly outside. So every mall, every office displays what is the air quality level in their buildings. Having said that, why I still feel bullish is in India has got you know, huge amount of tech power, technically qualified people, and we also have the arbitrage advantage. So the normal salary India to US, it could be in some sectors it is 1:10, but in tech sector it could be 1:6 or 1:7. So there is a huge amount of you know, advantage. The MNC companies in US, Japan face when they outsource work to India, and whenever there is a recession abroad, the amount of outsourcing quietly increases to India. They don't want to, these companies don't want to talk about it, that they're increasing the outsourcing, primarily because they'll have a backlash within their own country. And I understand the number of GCCs, Global Capability Centers, are somewhere in the range of 1,100 now. And in the next 4 to 5 years, it is expected to double in number. So that shows India's advantage, and that gives us the confidence that the office market will continue to grow with in between blips.
Great. Mr. Razack, are you equally bullish, or are you also cautiously optimistic?
Mostly more bullish.
No, there's no wonder why Brigade is doing what Prestige is doing, and Prestige is doing what Brigade is doing, because our thoughts are similar. When he said, when office people were talking about it, I said the maximum work that will come back is to India. And when maximum work comes in, the amount of demand for office will grow, it will not reduce. Yes, we have to be cautious. Initially, there will be a blip. Initially, there will be some sort of a slowdown. But then the demand will come back and will come back with a bang. And of course, now the whole scenario has changed. There's a lot of reliance on co-working spaces. So anyway, if it's co-working, they'll come to us for space. And ultimately, I believe that the office market will grow because there's a lot more jobs that are coming to this country. That inversely, more jobs means more housing, more office space. Yes, but we have to be cautious. We can't throw cautions to the wind. And the size of the leases itself has become smaller. In fact, size of it won't be earlier. You used to get demand in large chunks. Now it's going to be, take-up will be smaller chunks. But the demand will be there.
Great. Okay, so moving on to some prop tech related questions. So, Mr. Razack, your company has scaled up significantly, especially in the last few years. How important has prop tech been to the scaling up of your company? And you don't have to give a politically correct answer despite this being a prop tech conference. Does it have anything to do with tech, or nothing to do with tech and everything to do with the right people at the helm?
Now let me answer a question with a question. Now this phone, now somebody else also said there's radiation in it. This phone, was it existing 30 years ago? It wasn't there. 30 years ago we did work without that. But then the scale of work that we were used to do without technology was very different. And the scale of work that we do today with technology is amazingly different. Because we need to control technology. We need to use technology for our benefit. We can't become slaves to technology. At the same time, we need to put it to good use. So that is what I believe in. You see, you need technology in all aspects of business, whether it's real estate or any other business. Now, our business, we can use it for a whole lot of stuff, starting with data, starting with customer relationship management, communication, all of that. And apart from that, in hard construction itself, a whole lot of technology is used. You know, when I got into this business in the 80s, if you needed a rendering for a building, there was no tech to give you a rendering. My architect had to do a drawing, and then we had to go and get an artist. And that the architect had to brief the artist, and we literally had to go and sort of go and really do that, take care of that fellow, and pamper him to say, do my rendering before somebody else's or before some other, because he had a huge demand. And the whole thing has changed. Life has changed. The entire last 3 decades, of course, in this audience, some have grown up with tech, and some have actually had to adapt with tech. But if you ignore tech, it's not going to help. Now you put one slide over there called We Got. Okay. Now these guys came to us also and said, this is water management. We are going to save water, and people. Otherwise, there's no water meter for. There's an electric meter, but there's no water meter. People just waste water. So I thought that was a brilliant thing from 2 aspects. One was you're working towards sustainability, you're saving water. And secondly is people will be a little more conscious because they are now paying for the water they use. But unfortunately, the tech has to grow. It has to really mature. So there is tech, and it has to come of age, like how so much tech has come of age. It's only a matter of time where we have to use tech responsibly, and we have to we can't be enslaved to it, but at the same time, we have to use it for our own benefits, for the benefit of, because as we go on, it's going to be more and more of tech, more and more of usage of it, and I believe that is the future. And if we ignore it, we will not be able to be in business.
Great response. So, Mr. Jaishankar, somewhat related question. The building and construction industry spends only 1% of their top line on technology, and this includes what we spend on our laptops, SAP licenses, Salesforce licenses. So, is this sufficient? Does a brick and mortar business like ours really need to spend more?
No, without any doubt, we need to not double, if not double, we need to triple the investment also that goes into tech. Construction sector is one of the least, there where you can see the least adoption to technology. But it is increasing, but I think we are at a very nascent stage, I can say. What is encouraging is 6% of the startups are in the construction sector, prop tech. That is an encouraging thing to notice. There is a huge requirement, whether it's in project management, speed, ultimately helping speed of construction, improving customer centricity, and of course, data analytics is a huge thing. Earlier, we never knew from which side the customer is coming, what is required to the customer. And in real estate, once you take certain decisions, there is no looking back. Good or bad decisions, there is very little chance to modify, because it requires whole lot of approvals. And post-RERA, it has become even much more difficult. Even the color of a building also can be questioned, what is shown by an artist and what you ultimately decide. Yeah, I think it is that way. The challenges are huge. I'm sure the adoption of technology, the spend on technology will grow much faster than your GDP rate or the growth in business of real estate itself.
Great. So this is a question for both. I'm just going to dig a little deeper into the same question, because there are a lot of startup founders in the prop tech space here. So for their sake, so what 3 problems would you like tech to solve in the real estate business? Obviously, there's some technology that we've already seen, but is there any new tech that you would like to see in this space to help you do your business slightly easier?
See, now, what has started is you can print homes now. L&T is doing that. In fact, I've done a pilot project with them. Let's see how it works. Basically, it's nothing else. It's pouring concrete, but pouring concrete on a pre-designed, and it just produces it in no time. Like, we definitely need to see how we can speed up construction, how tech can be used for that, how we can control costs, because cost management and wastages are a very, very important thing and pilferages for that matter. And labor is required. We can't reduce labor, but then how we can make it less inefficient and more efficient. So these are the things that tech can help us in future. And on sustainability, yes, now like you said, there's some company helping to prevent radiation. Now we are talking about water management, and we are talking about electricity management. Now how we can use all this tech to see that we are able to sustain also what we are building. It's just not about sheer building and mindless building. There is, of course, now being a listed companies, we are in that race to see that we get the amount of sales or turnover or whatever that is. But while we do whatever we do, how can we do it responsibly, and how tech can help us to do all this properly and in an efficient manner. Today, tech can help us to see, some startups have come where we can manage our projects, all the defects that come in. And while it need not be shown as a retrospective job, it has to be done as we are doing it, set that right, and project management can become better and more efficient, and it's shared. And this will help us ultimately to deliver a better and efficient project to the customer.
Great. Any tech that you would like to see to add on?
Yeah, certainly, not necessarily prop tech. If there is a way to predict the unpredictable. That may be an interesting thing. Bit of crystal gazing, other than what economists say. You know, that may be with artificial intelligence. Even that may be possible.
Great. So Brigade used to have, construction industry has been constructing the same way for hundreds of years. Brigade used to have a precast plant for modular construction, but modular construction hasn't really picked up, or we decided we will shut down that precast plant. So why has it not picked up? Why didn't modular construction pick up? And is there any construction tech that would actually help speed up the method of doing construction?
No, modular construction is and precast is certainly one of the major answers and the requirement. We did start, precast technology, and probably we're the first developers in the country to do that as early as 2011, 2012. But unfortunately, the experience is not good in terms of, but it is better quality and speed of construction was good. But overall, it was experience was poor because it was 15 to 20% more expensive. And in particularly in cities like Bangalore, we operate on fairly thin margins of 15%, 10%, occasionally more than 15%. So that way, I think all the so-called profitability, we did about 3 million square feet or more of precast buildings. But ultimately, we decided to shut shop purely from an economic reason. And also government's approach and even the technical standards adopted by the Indian Standard Institute is bit more negative to the precast technology compared to the regular way of construction. And the taxation is GST is another killer for our sector. Overall, financially it was not a feasible thing. Maybe in cities like Mumbai, where the profitability is much better, and cost of construction in at least in the central areas is not really a cause for concern. Their land cost is the primary concern. So that being the case in cities like Mumbai, it may still work.
Okay. And
that's a myth.
Sorry. So we've all been hearing there's a huge focus on sustainability. Everybody's talking, having their sustainability targets. All established builders have, set up their own sustainability targets. So some of this is market driven, but of course some of this is internally driven. We all want to develop our cities in a more responsible manner. Has Prestige set any goals for itself on the sustainability front?
I think now ESG is something that is not an option. ESG is something which I think we should adopt. If we haven't, I think we all have, and I think we should do it more aggressively. And we have to sensitize every team member that the ESG is important, and we need to see whatever we do, it's sustainable. Now see, we built a golf course, just live example. When we built that golf course, when we were planning it, somebody said, listen, it's doomed to fail. And the reason they said there's no water. I said, okay, there is no water. Bangalore North doesn't have water. But there are ways and methods to how to keep that. Now today that's rated as India's best golf course 4 years in a row. And it's green all the time. What did we do? We did water management. We pumped in the wastewater from some 10, 12 kilometers or 15 kilometers just to see that it is there. And we don't even waste one drop of water. It's all recycled. It's all there. It's used for the course. And that is what has helped us. You see, so ESG is something that consciously we need to do it. And every sector, every segment of work that we do, we need to see that we are able to save the environment. And now, like Jay told me about precast. Yes, precast can be used in certain places, can't be used in you can't use precast in high-rise buildings. It's not possible. But we do use precast to build compound walls. We use precast to do some pavers. And there are various options where it can be used, and there are various options it can't. Like if you talked about modular construction, yes, you can do a ground plus 1-story building, but you can't do a high-rise building on modular. It's not possible. And I think it's just then you have other problems of seepages and leakages, and then we don't want to really get into a customer bashing.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have the last 10 minutes, so I'm going to move into a rapid fire round. They both don't know the questions. I haven't shared the rapid fire round with them. So you have to answer each response in either one word or max one sentence. Okay, so neither of them know. So I'll alternate the questions. Okay,
Start with him.
Fine. Home disadvantage, is it? Okay, so rate your risk appetite on a scale of 1 to 10.
I would say 8.
8?
8.
What about you?
I've done bungee jumping.
12, I think.
I've done bungee jumping. So somebody said, wow, you did that. So I said, at least there's a rope tied to my feet. In real life, there's no rope. We have to keep jumping and hope for the best. That's the risk appetite.
I have done skydiving, but still I would say, it is 8. And I would rate Irfan 10.
Thank you.
So how many hours a day do you really work?
I don't count, but I think the day starts at the work day, not the real day, but the work day starts at 9:30, ends at about 8 o'clock.
Okay, so what, 11 hours?
No, I think both of us, I'm sure, to exceed Mr. Narayan Murthy 70 hours in a week. That I can say for sure.
Okay.
I say first in and last out.
Yeah.
So how many hours a day do you expect the next gen to work?
No, I can only say next gen is smarter than us. They have a different outlook towards life. And I don't tell you people that work like me. I only say work smarter, and maybe still you do your 40 to 50 hours a week.
No, it's
That's
not
okay.
about how many hours you work or how
Smarter.
much you work. It's how well you work and how efficient you are and how you organize yourself. And I think Gen Z is equally committed. The next generation is definitely committed. But I think we need to give them the space, we need to give them the freedom, and they will fly. There's no issues.
Zaid, do you want to answer that? Okay, so Mr. Razack, if you could ask each other one question, what would it be?
What makes you tick?
That was my question.
What do you want to be in 5 years' time?
You also have to answer it.
No, I think for me especially, it's no longer about the money involved. It's never, after all, when you've reached a certain stage in life, you never work for money. You're working for the passion. You're working for creating something. That what makes you really excited is, listen, I've got this project, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a landmark in this particular city. Yes, there are risks involved. Yes, there are problems involved. How we are going to circumvent those problems, but then achieve the goal. You have to be extremely focused. You have to be extremely passionate. And then, like he said, risk ability is 10. I take that, but then you need to achieve something, you need to do it. And what makes me tick and what my next 5 years is, yes, keep doing better, doing more, build. I mean, our job is to see how we can create a huge organization. Already it's become pretty huge. I can't imagine how it was. I think I've exceeded my sentence, so we'll stop it at that.
And for you, you asked him he asked you what makes you tick?
No, in reality, it is very similar the things. It's a passion, no doubt. Also, the satisfaction of creating edifices, which will last beyond one's lifetime. That is one thing, one huge plus in real estate. Whatever we do, we build, will be there for generations. You know, that is something much past your lifetime, it will be there. So there is a desire to do something good, as Irfan said, better and better. Each, you know, each successive project should be better than the other, like our quality policy, continuous improvement in whatever we do.
Great. So if you weren't a developer, what would you be?
This question was asked by my friends on my 70th birthday. They said, what would you have done? Then my sister-in-law got up and said, whatever he would have done, he would have still excelled. Because my job is, see, I started off, I was a retailer. I made his wedding suit for your information. I used to sell clothes. I used to make sure everybody looked good. Second part was, I was very, very keen to be a chartered accountant. Then that got derailed because of pressures from family, got into the family business. And then, of course, I love law. I did law also. So either if I wasn't, maybe I would have been a bureaucrat trying to finalize your files. God help.
We would have all become.
But not a politician.
Yeah.
What about you?
So since I come from a coffee plantation family and I studied agriculture, my graduation is BSc Agriculture. So naturally I would have gone back to plantations. But I did enter, before real estate, I did enter a related field connected to coffee, processing of coffee, chicory, etc. And at that point of time, my desire was to start an instant coffee factory, like Nescafe Brew. But thanks to industrial relations problem, and I always thank the labor leader for that, and I entered real estate, and I'm much more happier.
Great. So which aspect of development do you enjoy the most of all the various processes that we have?
I think you know that it is the design development is what I enjoy the most, and of course finalizing properties gives a lot of kick, and naturally you enjoy every aspect of it other than dealing with the government. That is one thing I can certainly say I don't enjoy, and which is probably the case with most real estate developers. But you know, visualizing what we want to do, conceptualizing the project, it gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Is yours the same as well, or do you have another?
I think ditto, but then the thing is, for me, what intrigues me is the people. To get into their heads, how they think, how to convince them. It's amazing. You either you have to be I'm not a doctor, but then I think I can qualify to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist to understand how people think. If you are able to empathize and look at the other person's viewpoint, things change. Of course, design, once you have finalized a property, it's how you conceptualize, what you think that you can do there, and what you can build is important. And of course, we've come across, I think between both of us, we would have met all different people in different walks of life and different aspirations. And I've had the satisfaction of meeting some really amazing people, and also seen what follies they made, and learn from their lessons also.
Great. So last question from me before we open it up. There are a lot of disruption comes from outside, and there are quite a few fellow disruptors here. So what would you like to tell our fellow disruptors?
I think be ready for disruption in whatever you are doing itself. You may be a disruptor, but be ready for other disruptor to disrupt you.
No, I think disruption is a way of life. You have to look for it. There will be some change. There will be something that will, all of you would have read that book, Who Moved My Cheese. So disruption is part of life. It's part of our genetics. You see, it's not, every day can't be the same. And I think if you're able to, most important is how to take disruption along with you. How to handle it is the important part. And if you're able to manage that, then I think you can survive for on a later date. Like how we managed handle COVID.
It is a resilience. In one word, it is, I think, resilience is what is required. Uh, for every, whether it your tech company or a brick and mortar company, resilience is what is important.
And that focus and not giving up. Very soon what happens is we do something, then we feel this is not good, let's move to the other one, this is not good, move to the other one. You will not, I mean, you have a brilliant idea, you just go for it and just don't give up. I think ultimately you'll become the unicorn.
Great, thank you both so much. I think this was better than any business management course we could expect from an MBA class. We have time for one or two questions. Do any of you have questions? Can the mics be sent there, please?
Sir, very good morning. It was very interesting session. Just my question is your take on recently WeWork US bankruptcy, your insights on those things.
Can you slightly keep the mic away from you? Otherwise
Yeah.
you can't hear me.
Okay, your insight on WeWork bankruptcy in US, recently it filed, it was co-working space. So your thoughts on that one, how it will impact, though they told in India it will not impact WeWork, that co-working space, your thoughts on this? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, see, the founder of WeWork was a brilliant, extra smart. It was never a tech company. He made it like a tech company and raised billions of dollars. Ultimately, it is, a next step to whatever we are doing. I would say like office space. We also give warm shell. We give furnished office space. It is a furnished office space with some more tech added. So he tried to make it into a tech company, raised billions of dollars, made billions of dollars for himself, and he blew up the business. But the WeWork India is different. They are operating in a much more sensible manner, I can say. I think Irfan can add much more into that. And they overall, though they may have struggled, they were making it a sustainable business. And in US, going bankrupt is not a big thing. And they are proudly say we are Chapter 11 company. And some of the biggest funds who are operating in India, on a project level, they have gone bankrupt, but they are still very big.
Just to add that is the law of the land. In US, if you're bankrupt, you can go back to all your landlords and get your rents renegotiated, your loans renegotiated. In India, if you default on a bank loan, you'll never get a bank loan again. So depends on which country you're in. So what WeWork did was, they had to declare bankruptcy because they were giving some very huge rents. And the only way they could get themselves back to track was declare bankruptcy, get all their rents reduced so that they can again start functioning. The business is not bad, but what is bad is they had to do it because they had no choice. But in India, nobody can do that. They have to be that much more careful.
Hi, good morning. So I have a question for Mr. Razack specifically. I had the pleasure of visiting the site for your Mahalakshmi 100-floor tower, and I'm Nihar Rao from LiveSafe, Radiation Management. They invited me there to talk about radiation management, to look at it. But what was most impressive and interesting for me was that this entire building was its own ecosystem. This 100-floor building is completely self-sufficient in its own ecosystem. Was this a conscious decision by Prestige? And is this the future of buildings to come? Or is this a quirk of fate? Please elaborate.
No, it's not a quirk of fate. It is planned. We are in a new city. We are in tough competition. And the location was fabulous. And I said, that city deserved that. It's not 100 floors, it's more than that. And I believe that that's the future, where the future works. And we have to provide all this to tell our clients that, listen, working from there is the safest place. And there's a huge other ecosystem we've developed. And of course, we've got a Dutch architect for that. And so all his competencies also come into it.
Last 2-3 questions. Last.
Yeah, hi. Good morning and good afternoon once again. My name is Shyam. Just want to understand, you are one of those pioneers from Bangalore. So are you envisaging to become a pan-India, one brand, one day? Because real estate is becoming clustered. Like you have Delhi, you have Mumbai, and you have Bangalore. out of Brigade and Prestige, who going to be the pan-India single national brand as a first recall for any consumer?
I'll attempt. I think this pan-India thing is misused and are used in a very loose way. India has hundreds of cities, cities with more than 1 million population. So Brigade is operating in about 6 cities. Prestige may be operating in a dozen cities. But if there is a pan-India developer, means we need to be operating in every state in the country, not just in the 6 to 7 metropolitan cities. If you see in that fashion, we are not pan-India developers. At least we are not attempting to be. Brigade is not attempting to be a pan-India developer. This used to be the regular standard question when we went on an IPO, road show. Are you a pan-India developer? So I used to ask them, show me one pan-America developer. Show me one pan-Japan developer. Show me one pan-England developer. There is none. So even at that time, India's are now also India's largest developer, entered into 15 cities, 20 cities at that point of time. They burned their hand in 18 cities. So then we withdrew from the market. Maybe now, again, they are trying to expand to few more cities. So that way, you do where you are comfortable in managing the ecosystem, whatever is your management bandwidth is, but don't try to be a pan-India developer for the sake of being labeled a pan-India developer.
Last question, guys. Sorry, we're a little over time.
Sorry, I'll take it.
Hi, sorry. So this is Sriram here. First of all, thanks for, I'm seeing two stalwarts on one stage, and we've always got inspired from you, sir. I run a company called Hosachiguru, which is into managed farmland. It's a new asset class in real estate that we started some time back. I just want to hear from you, any of you have you ever thought of this as an asset class, and that can be actually made, that can be actually built beyond Bangalore and beyond Karnataka? Can this be a large business? Have you actually thought through on this as an asset class any time? Just 2 cents from you, sir.
It's a tough business. Actually, again, Hosachikuru, I've seen that managed farmland, again, depends on the law of the land. Like, till 2 years ago, you and me couldn't buy, unless you're agriculturist, buy agricultural land itself. Now law has changed. Many places, it's fragmented, it's difficult to manage it, and it depends how you do it. It's not, there are some people who do it right, you can be completely successful. But then that we leave it to people who want to do it.
Great. Thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you again, Mr. Razack and Mr. Jaishankar. I think everybody enjoyed
Ms.
this.
Nirupa, I would request you to felicitate our OGs on stage with a little memento.
But I must also thank Nirupa for making it very interesting. It was good to hear a lot of my friends' views, and also enjoyed the questions and also answering.
A moment Nirupa messaged me and said, I knew that I'll be traveling. I said, okay, I came in last night, but I'm here this morning. Only for nothing else, is for that relationship and that connection I have with them. That's all.